In this video, we look at the steps needed to authenticate N8N so that it has the ability to send messages to Slack, right? So Slack is really awesome, right? I think, I haven't met a situation where I haven't used Slack for notification, like real-time notification in a system like this. It is super easy to set up once you know the steps that you need to take. And obviously it's real time, right? And it's super affordable. So all these things check the boxes. If you're growing out, a micro SaaS, a SaaS where you want to keep the cost down, but you want to have like real time insight into leads that are coming in and also things that are dropping out for the pipeline. So again, this quick recap through this flow before I jump into the steps to use oAuth to actually connect or allow N8N to have access to your Slack, right? So again, this workflow is connected to a front end, to a landing page where leads are being generated and collected. The payload is going to be sent to the webhook. The webhook is sent to our Zoho node. There's a separate video on how to actually authenticate Zoho, N8N with Zoho. And then once it hits Zoho, right, two things may happen. It may be a success, right, where the lead is created or upserted, right? So either new or updated into the CRM, or it might be a situation that something funky happened and it failed. And if you notice, we do have Slack on both of our paths, right? The happy path and the not so happy path. So on the happy path, we send out a Slack message that says, hey, a new lead came in with that person's first name and that last name, and it goes to, a particular channel. Then an email is sent, and then a response with success back to the front end. On my not so happy path, right, my failure path, I do want to send an error message. I send it in this case for simplicity to a user, to myself, to say, hey, um, there's an issue with this lead coming in, right? And some information about the lead so you can see it's dynamic. So the big question here is how do we allow N8N to have access to Slack so that these messages can be done? And the answer is through oAuth, right? So in this video, we're going to set up oAuth so that Slack, N8N has access to Slack. So let's just kind of jump in. So if I do click on, let's say, this Slack message here, you can see I already have credentials set up. So let's pretend, well, let's walk through the process of setting up a new one. So I clicked on here, and as you can see, it's Slack OAuth 2 API. Clicked on create new connection. I'm gonna name it as usual. All right, as soon as I create these as the videos, then I delete these because obviously I do show my client ID and secret. So I delete them as soon as I do it. And that's just a shout out for you too as well. If you believe that your client ID secret, your secret, sorry, has been compromised, please delete it immediately and create a new one. Now with Slack, there's two ways to connect. There's the access token method and there's the OAuth 2 method. It is highly recommended that you do the OAuth 2 approach. So this is what I'll be doing in this video. So I'm going to click on oAuth 2. And as you can see, if you've already looked at the Zoho video, you can kind of see it's kind of like the same process, right? Because oAuth is a protocol, right? It says, hey, here's a redirect URL. I'm going to tell Slack this is where it sends stuff back. I need a client ID and secret. It's kind of like a username and password, and we just need to set that up. So let's just go ahead and do it. It's a little bit additional steps than, for example, a Zoho CRM, which is much more straightforward, but it's still a very super simple process that takes about 2 to 3 minutes. So again, I always want to do a shout out to N8N. Really good work on the docs. So I wouldn't want to recreate the wheel. So I'm going to click on Open Docs. When I do click on Open Docs, again, Slack is a little bit more involved because there are two methods to do it: the API access token method and the OAuth 2 method. So again, saving your time here. What you want to look is skip. You want to do is skip all of this and just go down where it says OAuth 2. Right now, again, this is assuming that you're already logged in into your Slack in the web, so you're already authenticated. So you're gonna go and click that page, right? You can like see the apps that you have installed, right, in your workspaces. So you're gonna click on Create New App, and then you're gonna click on Create from Scratch. You're gonna give your app a name. And again, I try to stay consistent with my names. So I'm going to use the same name I used over here. I'm going to use it here as well. Okay, the next thing I want to do is select the workspace that I want to actually create it in. So you're going to hit that drop down. All your workspaces are going to be listed. You're going to select one of them. All right, so I do want to create my, I do want to create this app in the Microsoft Platform Factory, and I'm going to select on Create App. Now, right off the bat, you can see I already get my client ID and my secret. So I'm just going to come in here. I'm going to copy that bad boy, and I'm going to bring him over here. Boom, I have my client ID, right? So I'm already cooking, right? The next thing I want to do is I kind of go back and I want to get my client secret. I'm going to have to show that. And again, heads up, I'm going to be deleting this as soon as this video is done. So they'll be deleted before anyone sees this video. And again, if you ever feel that your client secret is compromised, please delete and recreate. So I'm going to come in here. I'm going to copy, jump back into N8N. Boom, I put my secret in. I cannot connect to my account yet because I'm not done, right? So just hold on. We're going to the next step. The next thing that we want to do is we want to go in here. And what we need to do is we need to sort of like start setting up what's called the OAuth permissions, right? So I'm going to click here on the OAuth permissions. All right, actually, before I set up the OAuth permissions, what I want to do is a simpler thing, which is set up my redirect URL. So I'm going to click on Add Redirect URL. I'm going to go back here, and we have it right here. And this looks, again, if you've seen the video on Zoho CRM, this is pretty much the same thing you do in Zoho CRM, right? You grab the OAuth redirect URL, you jump back in here, you put it in. Do not forget to click Add. A lot of people forget to click Add, and do not forget to click Save URLs. Right? So now once you've done that, right, you're getting really close now. What you want to do is you want to go drop down here and then you need to now create the scopes. The scopes are super important to create. Now, luckily, N8N does a really good job of giving you an idea of the scopes that you need, right? So these scopes are here at the bottom of the documentation page. So I'm going to switch this over to my next screen while I look at it and I enter it into the list of scopes that we need. Right, so I'm just going to simply click on, just click and add the scopes. So for example, I'll kind of like, it's very simple. I just kind of copy. You come here, just paste, right? You click on it and then the scope is added. So I was kind of like pause the video while I go ahead and add each of these manually, and then I'll resume once all these are done. No need to keep the video running for a simple copy paste job. Done. Quick note, there are about 3 of the scopes that the N8N documentation requests that you add, but you're not able to, right? So I just believe the N8N documentation is a little bit behind. I just want to point out what they are, right? So you will not be able to add the user profile right, and you will not be able to add the stars read and the stars write. So it's a little bit of heads up on that. If you can't add it, it's not anything that you're doing wrong. They are not able to, you can't add them, right? Slack does not allow you to add them based on what you're doing, right? So now what we then do, and this is where we're nearly done, we want to kind of go up now into the OAuth tokens right here, and then we're going to click install to the Microsoft Platform Factory. In this case, you would see install to your workspace, whatever your workspace name is. So before we do that, let's just kind of like do a hard recap, right? We did the scopes, we did the redirect URL, right? We had basic information. We took the client ID and secret, we entered it into N8N. So now what we now need to do, right? We just come up here and we say install, right? The OAuth tokens to our space. You get this little permission screen that comes up. We click on allow, right? And then that does it. Like if you go back now to N8N, now we can click on connect to my account. And you can see credentials successfully created. Get a little permission pop up again. This final step, you click on allow. There you go. You now have access to Slack, or N8N now has access to Slack. And now you can select it. As you can see, it's selected here. And now you can send messages, you can delete, you can get permalinks, you can search, you can update, you can do pretty much all the operations that you need to do right across the channel, the file, the reactions, and it's all dependent on the scope that you gave it, right? So you can always go back and restrict scope. You can go give more scope, right? And as you can see, we can't start stuff right now because we don't have that scope. But again, you can do a little bit more reading into scopes and its relation into the resource and the different things that you're trying to do. But right now we made it very broad. So there's a ton of stuff that we can actually do here. So that's pretty much it. That's how you set up N8N. So it's kind of like authenticated and has access to your Slack workspace. All right. So hopefully this helped out a bit. And if you have any questions, you can always reach out to me via email or hit me up on my social, whether it's going to be Twitter or on LinkedIn. That works pretty well for me. Right. Bye. And again, hope this helped.